We're live.
Guys, thanks for thanks for joining us tonight. It's this technology. It's weird. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Terry Holland, trainer of NLP hypnosis and timeline therapy.
And I'm Stefano Casalter. I am a award-winning speaker and master NLP practitioner and master hypnotherapist.
Yeah. So what are we talking about?
I'm Terry's sidekick.
Yeah, right. So what are we talking about? What are we?
I don't know. Why don't we talk about, well, first let me tell you this story because it's been on my mind.
Cool.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And you probably know this because you know me very well. And it's about faux soup.
Oh, God.
Was that how you pronounce it? Is it? Or is it? I think Christy Powers was saying it's faux.
Is that how you say it?
I think so. Yeah. Anyways, it's delicious.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And I was staring into that big bowl of pho the other day, and I was thinking, this is the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. So you're asking me, what the heck does soup have to do with public speaking?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Everything. A good bowl of soup is like the perfect speech.
Okay.
You could be missing one little ingredient and it's going to taste off. Am I right?
Right.
You ever had that big bowl of soup? You take the spoon and you dip it in and you're thinking, man, this is going to taste so good. And you go, meh, it's missing something, right?
Yeah. I've never thought that deeply about soup.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about it lately. And making rookie mistakes is like leaving the salt out of the soup. It's like putting cilantro into the soup. It ruins it completely.
Might like that though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. I can't stand cilantro, but that's a bad example. Let's say it's the leaving the salt out of the soup.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have all the right pieces in there. But
right.
If you're leaving something out or putting the wrong thing in,
yeah,
you get bad tasting pho.
Right.
So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Following Stefano on social media, he's had a little bit of a fixation on pho lately. Yeah.
I'm still working out this social media thing. I think the hardest thing to do is get the camera angles. It seems every time I get myself on camera, I'm like this.
You have to talk to Christy Powers.
Yes, I know.
Hold the phone up and then you look down.
Okay. So,
rookie mistakes, is that what
yeah, and
filler
words.
That's right. I thought you actually forgot. I was like, what's going on?
It just seems so natural.
It did. It was very realistic. Well done.
How do we get rid of filler words? Isn't that one of the most irritating things when it comes to public speaking?
Yes.
And I've never been 100% clean of filler words, and I'm not sure if I ever will, no matter how hard I work at it. Right. It's just something we do naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But does it sound good if you don't do anything about it?
No.
Yeah.
No. I think, there's a lot of controversy around filler words that I hear in different speaking groups. Some people say, well, you should just, don't worry about them because it makes the speaker sound more natural. And other people, are absolutely against them. And my personal opinion, I think it depends on the communication. So in a very formal speech, you want to have as little filler words as possible. I think in a more casual setting, casual environment, it's okay to have some. Where they become a problem is when they're a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear rookie speakers doing that, where every sentence starts with an and then they say what they're going to say, and then next point, and then next one. And if it's becoming a punctuation in your communication, I think that's where it becomes a problem, and it dilutes the message. That's where it's problematic. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that we preach is being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be yourself.
Right.
So if you're not being yourself, then people are going to smell it. They smell the BS.
Yes.
So you have to be authentic. You have to be yourself. But when it comes to crutch words, if you're saying, well, it's because it makes you authentic, don't worry about it. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you want to be the best you can be?
Right.
While still being authentic.
Yes.
So our thought is do your best to get rid of them. Practice.
Mm-hmm.
Being aware of them is the first thing. Many people aren't aware of them. And there are some people that will crucify, especially if you're a Toastmaster, you start recognizing, we work on that a lot. So you start recognizing filler words all the time.
Yes.
So even if you're not so bad, there's a lot of people that recognize and pick up on that stuff.
Absolutely.
So why not do your best to get rid of them?
Yeah.
And once you start thinking about it and thinking about your crutch words, then you can start doing it in regular conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll actually catch myself when I'm sitting with friends or even in a casual situation where I'm being authentic. And I'll kind of catch myself and I'll be, okay, I'm going to try and pause instead of going on. And that's what I do now. Instead of going, I still do sometimes, but most of the time I'll just pause. And when the words hit me, then I keep going. It sounds natural.
Yes. And I really think it comes out more in impromptu speaking. So when you're speaking with a friend like that, it's going to come up more. And it tends to be when people are thinking of, what do I say next? Mm-hmm. So that's where a pause is really effective, or taking a breath instead. Mm-hmm. And when I do a formal speech, something that's prepared, I seldom use a filler word. When I'm speaking like this, though, they come out. Right? This is more casual. It's comfortable. When I'm recording my podcast, they tend to come out more. I hear them when I'm listening back to it because it's more off the cuff speaking.
Can you think of someone famous that is great with prepared speeches, but has tons of crutch words when they're doing impromptu speaking?
I sure can. Can you?
Yep. Yes, I can. Our Prime Minister.
Our Prime Minister, yes.
Yeah. And when you love him or hate him, it's when one thing that we've noticed is when he's doing impromptu speaking, he's got a lot of crutch words all the time. But when he has a prepared speech, they're immaculate.
Yeah, absolutely. I've also noticed when he's speaking in French, he doesn't have the same filler words.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So it could be, sometimes people will do that, by the way. Sometimes those crutch words, the filler words, they come out if a person is not speaking in their native tongue. And it's because they need that split second. They're constantly translating what they're saying in their mind, and they need that split second. And to fill that spot, they'll say, and then come out with the sentence that they were preparing in their mind. Yeah. So,
cool.
that's a frequent thing too.
Do your best. Try and cut out the filler words, the crutch words.
Yeah. Yeah. Pacing. Should we talk about pacing?
Pacing, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nervous pacing, especially. That's like leaving the broth out of the soup.
Soup without broth.
I know, or putting too many yams into the soup or something. I don't know. It's something
yams.
It just is kind of a giveaway that you're nervous.
Right.
So when a lot of people start speaking, they think they have to move all the time.
Yeah.
For example, today I saw two great speakers speak, and one of the evaluators, Barry, gets up and he was evaluating the speakers, and he said, sometimes speakers think they have to move.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, there are tons of speakers that don't move at all. They'll stand in one place and they deliver their speech, and they deliver it just as powerful, even more powerful than somebody that's given the same speech and pacing.
Yes. I think it's something that I also see a lot in Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
I think because the speakers are encouraged to use the speaking space as much as possible in Toastmasters. And not to put down Toastmasters at all. We both support Toastmasters. We are Toastmasters. I think sometimes newer Toastmasters pick that up and they think, okay, I'm encouraged to use the space. So then they think pacing back and forth would be better than standing and delivering. So that's another reason why I think that comes up a lot for new speakers.
Mm-hmm. So what we say is move with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a purpose to move somewhere, then move.
Yeah.
If you don't, there's absolutely nothing wrong with standing and delivering your speech.
Yes. I like standing and delivering.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Like yeah.
Yeah, you're good at it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more animated than a lot of speakers, so I'll move around, especially when I'm storytelling. I love storytelling and painting a picture using my body and my hands and whatnot. So I like to move a little bit more. But if you watch, you see that every move is purposeful.
Absolutely.
If I move somewhere, it's for a reason.
Yes.
The same with you. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
So move with purpose, stand and deliver.
Yeah.
So what's the next ingredient in the soup?
What is the next ingredient? Chicken? Noodles?
I don't know. But without this ingredient, you're going to have some nasty soup. And this is another rookie mistake that beginning speakers make, are having bad introductions and bad conclusions.
Yes. Yeah. So
Preparations.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, go for it.
You first. All right, fine.
Go.
Bad conclusions and bad openings are the lack of preparation.
Yeah.
You take the time to prepare your speech and make sure you have a good opening and good conclusion. As I was saying today to that group, and this my mentor Ian had always told me this. He goes, your audience remembers two things. It's your opening and your conclusion, and the magic weave of your message that holds it all together.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad intro or a bad conclusion, that your message just goes poof.
Right.
And you're left there sitting with a mouthful of soup going, oh, there's something missing.
Cilantro.
Yeah. I know there's people that love cilantro, but maybe the devil created it to separate the people going to heaven.
Maybe. I love it. So
exactly. Anyways, go. So I've seen so many speakers, and this is what I used to do. When I was a beginning speaker, I used to, well, first of all, when I would prepare, I wouldn't do my speech the whole way through. I wouldn't practice it the whole way through. As what most of us do is when we're first starting, we'll start and then we muff up, we start again. Then we start, then we muff up, we start again. So by the time you're done preparing, you've only done your conclusion one or two times. So it's not as strong as your beginning. And when you have that, you're left with the kind of like a lackluster feeling of your audience. You're, oh.
Yeah.
So why not have a good conclusion, something that wraps back into the beginning? I guarantee you we're going to conclude with soup tonight. Right?
Probably. Oh, soup.
Because that would just make this whole thing feel good. We talked about to begin with, and we close out with it, and it gives everybody a nice feeling.
Who doesn't like soup? Yeah. So with your intro, it's important that you grab the audience attention, that you draw them in, and you give them a reason to keep listening. People have very short attention spans these days. And your intro is how you're going to get their attention, and then you have to keep their attention. So here's some things not to do in your intro. Don't start by saying, "Hi, I'm Terry Holland." You've probably been introduced. They know who you are. So you don't need to say your name. You don't have to introduce yourself. And you're probably not Terry Holland either, because that's me. So you don't have to introduce yourself. You've been introduced. You've most likely been introduced. Another one, what are some other ones that people should avoid?
Well, let me just say this as well. There's purposeful ways if you need to introduce like that. For example, if you're doing a workshop or you're doing training, sometimes you can use that. It's kind of a nice way to open up.
Yes.
And for me, like today when I was doing a workshop, I started out with a few metaphors.
Yeah.
And it was a good way, as you were saying, to hook people in. It's a good way. Stories is a great way to get people interested. And I closed by calling back to those stories as well.
Yeah.
And it gives people a nice feeling.
For sure. And if you do need to introduce yourself, so in a workshop setting, a training setting, have something before that, like Stefano mentioned, a metaphor, a story, something that gets their attention, and then you can say, "Let me tell you a little bit about myself," or "I'll introduce myself," or some way to go into that, introduce yourself then. I wouldn't start with the introduction, by introducing myself. Especially, and for a formal speech, for a talk, you've probably been introduced by someone. You don't have to introduce yourself. Another one is, how's it going? How's it going? Starting a talk like that, I don't recommend. It's just not strong enough. It's not bad, but it's not strong. It's not a strong way to start a speech.
You need to let people know that they're there for the right reason. You need to hook people in and say, there's always a barrier between you and your audience, especially if it's an audience you've never spoken to, or if you're at a multi-speaker event where people didn't even come to hear you speak. You need to have good, powerful introductions to hook people into your story, and then keep them listening for another 45 minutes or an hour, however long you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What are some great ways to conclude a speech? What do you think?
Always the cyclical. I love cyclical. I think it's the best way to end a speech, is calling back to the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. I like that too.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I think it's a good, positive, solid, guaranteed way to leave your audience with a good feeling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and have closure. People like closure.
Yes.
I remember doing speeches a while ago. I had a competitive speech that I was working on for the longest time. And there's some things that I addressed in it that I didn't conclude with.
Oh.
And it wasn't purposeful. It wasn't purposeful to make people think. It was just, I didn't know better. I didn't know that if I'm gonna, what do they call it?
Open loop?
No, the gun on the wall.
Oh.
Chekov, what's his name? That's
Chekhov.
a Russian. Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hanging on the wall. If you mention it, it better go off by the second act.
Yeah.
Right? So if you bring something into your speech, you have to address it in your speech. That's the whole part of theater and the part of movies and everything that you see. Everything's addressed. Everything that is there for a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose, get rid of it. Yes. You mentioned the gun on the wall and the gun doesn't go off, people are going to be pissed.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I think the other thing, and this is when I'm listening to a speaker, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is when they're getting close to the end, they say something like, "Oh, I'm running out of time, so I better wrap this up quickly." Because what I take that as is I'm getting ripped off. I feel like That's what it feels like. Like I'm going to be ripped off, that you have something really great you were going to say, and now you're just going to wrap it up quickly and cut us short. So if you are running out of time and you notice that, wrap up your speech, but don't tell us that you're wrapping it up or that you're going to skip some stuff. Don't tell the audience that. They don't need to know. They don't know what they're missing.
Mm.
And that, I think, is another rookie sign, is telling the audience, oh, I better wrap this up. I'm almost out of time.
Mm. That reminds me of the perfect ingredient.
What?
The escape clause.
Ah, yeah.
Yes. And this is a good, if you're a competitive speaker, this is so important. And I learned this one from my mentor, Ian. And he always said, you always have to have an escape clause in your speech. Because if you run out of time, you don't get more time. You can't push overtime. And if you do go over time and you're at an event where you're a guest speaker, people hate it when you go over time. Not just the audience, but the person that invited you there is going to hate it as well. Always watch your timing. Timing is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So have an escape clause. So for example, at my presentation today, I didn't have enough time to do absolutely everything that I wanted. But I asked Katie, who was in the audience, I said, just let me know 2 minutes before I have to wrap up. 2 minutes before I have to wrap up, because I knew exactly I had 2 minutes to give the content that I needed to leave everyone with a good feeling. Otherwise, it would run out of time and I would have looked like an ass standing there, just kind of calling it quits. Oh, come on. I know what you're going to say. But yeah, so have an escape clause. I think Ian called it the escape hatch. Always have something there that you can pull out when you're desperate and running out of time. You can bring it out and you close strong. You have to finish strong. It's so important. Finishing strong is how you leave people. It's the feeling you give them. So if you don't finish strong, you don't give them that feeling that they need to walk away and take action on your message or buy your product and services.
Yeah. That's always a nice thing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
So there's, is that make sense on how this? I think public speaking is like a beautiful big bowl of pho. It's got all the good stuff in it, all the great stuff inside. And if you're missing one of those things, if you're throwing in the wrong ingredients, or if you're missing some ingredients, it's those rookie mistakes that make the soup taste meh.
Yeah.
Do you want to be meh? Or do you want to be that greatest tasting soup that sticks on your mind every single day? like that bowl I had last Thursday. Yes, I can't stop thinking about it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So should we tell them about our exciting news before we wrap up?
What news?
I think we have exciting news.
Do we?
Our podcast.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's amazing.
Yeah, we have officially launched the Complete Speaker System podcast now on iTunes, or will be on iTunes within the next hour or two. It's just, I got the notification, it will be live in the next couple hours. So check for that. We'll post a link on the page, and we love it if you would subscribe to it. That helps us out a lot and helps us become more visible on iTunes by more subscriptions we get. And if you like these videos, that's a great way to get this content without having to watch us. You can just press play and listen while you're driving your car or walking your dog or at the gym or whatever you're doing. And you don't have to watch the video feed. So
and if you like our videos, please share it. Share it with somebody that you think that can benefit from the messages we have to tell or the wonderful soup metaphors. Give us a like, subscribe, do it, anything. It always helps us out and allows us to just keep doing what we love to do, and that's bringing this stuff to you.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us tonight. If you have any questions, please post them below. We're happy to answer any of your questions. And I hope you have a good night.
Have a good night.
Now.